Hey guys, welcome back. Well, I showed you pretty much talked about the silverware, foods, the where to go to, well, not really where to go to get everything from being homeless. Remember, health clinics, doctors, hospitals, libraries. When you become homeless in a town that you never know where everything is, you need to get plugged into their system. The best thing, and you can do so many steps. First thing, you want to find either police stations, churches. Look for a police station, ask them that you're tell them you're homeless, and you need a list for their shelters. You get the list of their shelters, and you find out what shelter you want to stay in. You take a look around, and see when you sign up for some of the shelters, there'll be a list of names, so you'll be on a waiting list. You got to check in, you got to do all that. By time you get done, they may have beds for you, they may not have beds, so that's why you'll be on the street sleeping. Um, some shelters have things like if you have alcohol on your breath, or they'll do a breathalyzer test on you, and if you come in with alcohol on your breath and they ask you to blow into this machine and you fail the machine, you will not be coming back in for the night. Same thing like the day shelters. Some day shelters ask you to blow inside the machine for alcohol. If you don't pass it, you ain't going to be taking a shower. So basically, the people that drinks, that are homeless, is very hard to find shelters for them. Now, for those that drinks and do drugs, they have reach out shelters like AAA. There are so many different reach out shelters for those that codependent. See, I think there are people in Vegas and Seattle, also around Ohio, that makes me think they have a codependency to get into the drug rehab shelters for drugs. Because their chances of getting in is a lot quicker for drugs if they're an addict to get into those shelters. Honestly, I did it once to get in to a shelter, but then again, I decided not to. So that's that. Now, here's the fun part. I got here is a bag, okay? This is what our baggie looks like. When they give you a bag for lunch, when you leave the shelter for lunch and stuff, and some churches will give out bags, other places will give out bags, and these are just on-set bag for the day, for lunch. You'll have in your bag, you'll actually have your sandwich. It'll be wrapped and everything. It looks like this. They give you your fruit, applesauce. They usually give out milk and everything, but in some places, I think it's really hard. Bottled water. They'll give you a bottle of water or a Gatorade. That's in during the summer. And then they'll stuff the bag with stuff like this: shaver, toothpaste, sometimes sanitizer, soap. It's a mystery packet. I had several mystery packets that had condoms in it. Salt and pepper. Also, a key thing when you're homeless: carry ketchup packets, mayonnaise packets, things like that, perishable items. Because when you get these sandwiches from shelters when you leave, depending on what shelters or where you go that hands out food, this is what it looks like. Sometimes it's either bologna and cheese with lettuce on it, turkey, white. As you can see here is a turkey sandwich on wheat with cheese, no mayonnaise, no ketchup. Yes, it's a real sandwich. See that? Look in there. Turkey, cheese. That is what they feed you when you're on the street, and yeah. And later on, I'll be talking in my other videos to come. I'll be talking about the Vegas shelters. Yes, I'm very proud of the Vegas shelters, things like that. Of course, applesauce, and sometimes you get a spoon or fork, whichever, depends on how they feel. Gatorade, my favorite. But Gatorade is not usually this big. It's smaller. It's one of those smaller Gatorades. Um, got that covered. And you gotta understand, okay? Being on the streets, you gotta learn to survive. You eat what you can. I mean, you have people they're what you call skim the top of garbage cans for food, skimmers. Um, skimming the top of trash cans, things like that. Anything like meat or have mayonnaise or wet, you don't want to eat. Stuff that don't have bugs in, like chips, you want to look out for, but they'll eat that. Bread, you want to make sure it's not wet or molded. Um, Finding half full bottles of either water. Water is the best thing to look for when you're homeless, especially on the hot days like up in Nevada. You gotta watch out what empty bottles you find that has water in it. If you see spit inside it and everything, no, don't drink it. But if it's sealed shut or if it's banged up and you're on the street and you need water, yeah, go ahead and drink it. You gotta look for spit bubbles. If it has spit in it, do not take it. And go ahead, ask me a question in my comments and everything. Ask me if I skimmed the top of trashes and everything. I really didn't skim the top of trashes. What I did was I talked to managers at restaurants like KFC, Burger King, McDonald's, and this was done over in not Seattle. Yeah, Seattle, Washington. See, Safeway housing, they put breads and stuff and put it in the back. There was a KFC place, and they tell certain people where to go at night. Like during closing time is the best day to go to like a soup house, like a restaurant, because they throw out their food, and that's when all the homeless people gather. They have like these places where they meet for feeding, and it's scarily hard to find out where are these feeding areas because some of the homeless people will not tell you where it's at because that's their spot where they get food from. Some of them will fight for food, stand in line, things like that, because it's rough being on the street. I mean, people would actually fight for food. I mean, downright fight, beat the living shit out of people for food. Then I'll get back with you guys in Vegas because I have a whole shitload of things to tell about Vegas. Being homeless in Vegas, yes, I was there. And I gotta tell you about it. It is just a whole different 8, 9, 10 video long about that experiment in Vegas. So take care, be safe, and remember, I'm doing all this for tips.